This is the new Garmin Dash Cam Mini, and it is currently the smallest dash cam on the market, at least from a reputable dealer. And I got this for my car because I was looking for the smallest dash cam possible. I didn't need any of the frills. I didn't need a screen for sure. Don't need the GPS. All I needed was a camera that was small, out of the way, and that could record 1080p video. And this fit the bill. So I got this. I got it on sale back in June after it had come out only a few weeks before then. And I think I paid about $113, $119 for it, something like that. Generally online it's closer to $130. But either way, this is what I got. And also I picked up one of these. This is the Garmin Polarizing Filter. This filter is the standard filter that's made for pretty much all of the Garmin dash cams. It also fits on the Mini. It just kind of slips on here. And when you put it on, you just have to look for the groove. There's a little groove at the top of the filter, and you have to make sure that it is on the top or the bottom of the camera. That way the polarizing filter is properly aligned. Now, a polarizing filter is a really critical piece of equipment that you need to have on any dash camera. Unless your dashboard in your car is just like matte black, no reflections at all, you're going to have glare on the windshield. This car in particular has kind of a medium dark gray dash with some black and some carbon fiber and all that. The reflections are absolutely horrific without the polarizing filter. The reflections are still there with the polarizing filter, but believe me, this thing cuts it way, way down, and it's just a required accessory for any dash cam. So, the dash cam Mini itself, very simple device. There are only two buttons. On the side is a tiny little button that toggles your microphone on and off. And on the back is a button that is basically your incident button. If something happens on the road, you want to save it to permanent storage, you press that button, it records it, saves it. This is also the sync button. So when you are initially pairing the camera to your phone, this is the button you hold down, the LED will turn blue, and then you can sync, and it's very, very easy. It's extremely simple to pair your phone to the camera, and it works perfectly every time. On the side is a little slot for a micro SD card. In mine, I've got the 64 gigabyte Samsung Pro Endurance, and you want the Endurance card because these cards are made for dash cameras, really. They will allow you to write to the card many, many more times before they fail than regular cards. Remember, SD cards don't last forever. You can only write to them so many times. But with these Pro Endurance cards, it should last a really, really long time. So, the dash cam itself connects to the windshield by way of this little ball socket. So it just snaps in. You can adjust it however you want. It's got a good, nice grip. It's not going to come loose. It's not going to change your orientation or anything like that. And then, in my case, I've got the Garmin parking cable installed in this car. So if I can find the slot, I will connect it. Now, before we go on, I know that all of you really want to see sample video footage from the camera. So let's take a look at some of that right now. Now, first I should point out that this is now third generation footage as you're seeing it, because it came out of the camera, that was generation 1. It went through a video editor to make this review, that was the second generation, and then YouTube recompresses it. It's a third generation. So the quality you're seeing here is not as good as the original quality, but it's still pretty indicative, I think, of what you'll see. I should point out that the video quality is actually pretty good from this camera. I'm happy with it. I actually think it's a lot better than what I get out of my ThinkWare F800 Pro. I've actually never been happy with what I get out of that camera because the bit rate on the video is so low that the artifacting just mangles everything, and it's hard to read license plates, it's hard to read street signs. But that's not a problem with the Garmin. The Garmin, I find that most of the time I have no problem reading street signs, I have no problem reading license plates. The only time that I ever really see any significant video artifacting is if I'm going down a narrow road where there's trees flying by on both sides, and that causes some of the compression artifacts to appear. But generally speaking, the video quality is pretty good. And I should also note that all of the video footage that you're seeing here is with the polarizing filter on. So the nighttime footage has to struggle a little bit more because the polarizing filter is also basically a neutral density filter, so it darkens things, and it may result in slightly grainier footage than you would get otherwise, but overall, it's still pretty decent. Polarizing filter, like I said before, really helps with the daytime footage though. Now, because the Dash Cam Mini does not have a screen, everything you do has to be done through the Garmin Drive app on your phone. And the Garmin Drive app's actually pretty good. I'm reasonably happy with it. It works a lot better, I think, than the ThinkWare app that I have to use on my other car, in which I have a ThinkWare F800 Pro installed. That app's a real hassle because every single time I want to connect to the camera, I have to go into the settings, join the proper Wi-Fi network, go back. It's a real pain, but the Garmin app makes it a whole lot simpler because it allows you to join the Wi-Fi network in the actual app. So here's how it works. So you bring it up, it shows you have your camera. We've already connected it. We can review the footage. Let's tap here. Now, oftentimes it's a little slow. So we'll join the Wi-Fi network, and then it has to sit here and think about it as it talks to the camera. And also the camera, when it's connected, it has a blue light. So the blue light always means it's talking to the phone. Red lights means it's recording. Green light means it's either booting up or shutting down. Okay, so here we have two types of footage. You'll see first the saved footage, and then under that you'll see temporary footage. What saved footage is that's footage that is permanently stored on the memory card. It's not going to get overridden because this is what is deemed the important stuff. So it's either stuff that is recorded in parking mode that triggers a recording, or it's when you're driving and say somebody hits you, or quite often it's when you hit a pothole, or it's also when you press the record button on the camera. If there's something you see that you think needs to be saved permanently, you press that button and it goes into saved footage. Now you'll notice on here I don't have any saved footage, and the reason for that is because, well, I don't ever have parking mode turned on. I'm going to talk more about that in a second, but suffice to say, parking mode on this camera has some serious issues. So down here in temporary footage, this is the footage that the Garmin Dash Cam Mini records when you're just driving, just regular driving, and normally it records 1-minute clips. So if you're driving for an hour, you'll see on the memory card 60 individual 1-minute long clips. But luckily the app is smarter than that. It knows that, okay, I was driving for an hour, I'm going to automatically stitch all of those little clips together. So say we look down here at the bottom, August 13th, it's smart enough to know that I was driving from 5:35 p.m. to 6:06 p.m. So out comes the footage. It shows the footage all stitched together. I'm not going to have to look at individual 1-minute clips. It will show me the entire drive. Also, I want to point out one little bug. Down below you'll see it says include audio. Well, this never works. The Garmin is recording audio, and if I view these clips outside of the Garmin app, either I download them to the phone or I view them on my computer, the audio is all there. But even though this switch is on, I never ever hear audio coming through the Garmin app. It's really weird. Anyway, down here it's really nice. You can trim the clip however you want using the little trim handles. It all works really quite well. Now, if you want to save these clips to your phone, export them, this is where things get a little weird. It takes forever, and I mean forever, to export the files. It says reading video file. If you have a 10-minute file, it could take 15 minutes to download that file to your phone. So it's generally slower than real time. So even if you have just a tiny little 1-minute clip, it could take 1.5 to 2 minutes to download that little thing. So I have found that it just makes a whole lot more sense to pop the memory card out of the camera, take it inside, view it on the computer. It's a million times faster. Otherwise, I'm just sitting in my hot car with the power on, just waiting and waiting and waiting for it to download. Meanwhile, my battery's draining and the phone's going dead. So, going back to the app, let's look at other things it can do. So, well, see, now here's another problem. Sometimes it just locks up. There we go. It finally came back to life. The app does have some kludgy moments where sometimes it, doesn't connect the first time to the camera, you have to try again. Sometimes it just freezes up a little bit. Sometimes it has a hard time getting the previews off of the device. It's a little strange, but generally speaking, it works. So we can also go into settings, DC Mini. Here's where we can set up the camera. So because there's no screen on this, you have to go through the app in order to align the camera. Not that hard. You just say connect it, and you join the Wi-Fi network. You wait for it, and you wait for it a little longer. Sometimes this takes a really long time. This is one of the frustrating things, but there it is. So now we've got our live feed coming off of the camera, and we can adjust it, get the camera just where we want it. And this is basically what you have to do in order to set up your camera. But once you've done it, you just kind of leave it there. The other settings are pretty obvious, just quality modes. It's got 720p. I have no idea why anybody would ever want to do that. It records 1080p. There's the data overlay. So what that is that's the timestamp information at the bottom of each recording. Now you can turn that on and off with the data overlay, but the problem is that when you turn it off, it doesn't remove the Garmin logo. The Garmin logo in the lower left-hand corner is always there, and that's a little frustrating. I wish they would let us change that. Parking mode. So parking mode, I have it off. Like I said before, I have problems with parking mode. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But suffice to say that if you have it on, you can select how long you want the camera to remain in parking mode. You can tell it to be always on, and that's fine because the circuitry in the parking cable will automatically shut things down if your car battery gets too low. When I try to make parking mode work, I just set it to 2 hours because I don't even want my car battery cycling high-low, high-low. I don't want it to drain. It's just not good for the battery. So, whoops, let me go back in there. I'm going to turn it back off because, believe me, I do not want it on, as you're about to find out. And you can check software updates. You do all the firmware updates from the phone. This camera currently has the 7.10 firmware, which is the latest as of today. When I first got the camera, they were issuing new firmware updates every couple of days. And I kept hoping that these firmware updates were going to fix the parking mode problem that I'm now going to tell you about. Okay, so let's talk about my biggest issue with the Garmin Mini. It overheats, and it overheats a lot. But the good news is that I found the pattern that causes it to overheat, and I figured out a way around it. So here's what happens. If you start the car up from cold, the camera's off, the car's off, there's no power. It's just a cold boot of the Dash Cam Mini. If you do that, everything works fine. The camera will get warm as it operates, but it never gets hot. It just gets warm, and it'll work, as far as I can tell, indefinitely. If you park the car and it goes into parking mode, it seems to continue to work as well. The problem is when you bring it out of parking mode. So if I get back in the car, I start it up, the camera is still in parking mode, it's still recording parking incidences. Something happens that causes it to overheat. I'm going to say 50 to 80% of the time. I mean, it happens pretty much constantly. For example, one time I decided to test it. I drove about 30 minutes. I was actually driving to the place I bought it because they were going to run some diagnostics. I drove down there for 30 minutes. I kept touching the camera, and the whole drive, it was warm, but it wasn't hot. It seemed normal. I get there, we unplug the camera, we run the diagnostics, we check all the voltage coming off of the parking cable. The voltage was perfectly normal at 5-point-something volts. They reflashed the firmware, they checked the SD card, everything checked out. So, I'm going to drive home. I decided to stop for lunch. So about 25 minutes into the drive, I touch it again, everything's fine. I park the car, it goes into parking mode, I go in. 15, 20 minutes later, I come back out. It's still in parking mode. The temperature is totally normal. It's not hot. Start the car up. It goes back into drive mode. Okay, I'm driving down the road. I go about, 2 to 3 minutes, and I get to a stoplight. I touch the camera, and it is smoking hot. I mean, it is so hot, I just singed my thumb when I touched the thing. I mean, I couldn't believe how hot it got and how quickly it got that hot because it had been going all morning long without any problems. It was in parking mode for 20 minutes. It never got hot. but taking it out of parking mode, all of a sudden it was just crazy hot. So I'm like, well, it's going to clearly overheat, and I bet you it'll shut down by the time I get home. Well, I get home, it didn't shut down. So while the car was still running, I get my phone out and I try to connect to the camera. It wouldn't connect. I couldn't get it to connect. I'm like, well, that's weird. Let me try resyncing it. So I get something that to put between the button and my finger because it was too hot to touch, and I pressed the sync button. I couldn't get it to go into sync mode. I'm like, that's really weird. Then I turned the car off. Now that should have put the camera back into parking mode. It didn't. The camera stayed on. So it was clear to me at that point that the camera had frozen. It had overheated this time to the point where it locked up. And the only way that I could turn it off was to physically unplug it. So I physically unplugged it. I waited 10 minutes, came back out, popped the memory card out. I checked the files, and lo and behold, everything was normal, except for right after coming back out of parking mode. So when I was done with lunch and I turned the car back on, it ends up it only recorded 20 more seconds of video when I restarted the car. And then there was no video after that. So presumably, that's when it overheated. That was when the rapid temperature ramp up occurred, when it went from being warm to ridiculously hot and froze the whole thing up. The freezing has happened several times. Luckily, this car is on a trickle charger. So even though there was one point where the camera was actually on for 3 straight days, I didn't know it because I hadn't driven the car for 3 days. And it was just white hot the whole time. I'm surprised it didn't start melting. I mean, it was that hot. And it, like I say, it corrupts files every now and then. We have the incorrect dates on files, or files that are just simply corrupted and won't read, or the wrong length. But as long as I never put the camera into parking mode, it works fine. And that's why I always have parking mode turned off. It's been about a month now since I stopped using parking mode, and it has worked absolutely flawlessly. No corrupt files, no overheating, no shutting down, no locking up, nothing. The camera works perfectly as long as parking mode is off. So I don't know what's going on. Garmin claims they don't know anything about this. The store I got it from says I'm the only one that's reported this issue. I don't know what to say. This is my second Dash Cam Mini, so it's not like I got a bad one, unless I got 2 bad ones. But this is the problem that I've been having. So as long as you can live without parking mode, I think this is actually a really good camera. If you need parking mode, you may have to look elsewhere, because I don't know if this happens to everybody. There's no rational reason why 2 of these Dash Cam Minis in this car would do that. But anyway, I like the camera. I'm actually happy with it, even though parking mode doesn't work. So, you know, I'm going to give it a thumbs up regardless, because I think for the money, it's good. The app is decent. The video quality is good. I like the form factor, the size of the whole thing, and the whole simplicity, I think, is fantastic. So until somebody else comes out with a similarly sized dash cam, this is the one to get if you're going for a small, discrete unit. Anyway, thank you for watching this review. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. I am always happy to try to add more information if possible. And until then, thanks for watching.